Admiral Zexathara of the Galactic Coalition Navy couldn't suppress the clicking sound his mandibles made when amused. Across the holographic display, the primitive human fleet hung in space like scattered debris, their vessels crude and angular, compared to the sleek, energy-efficient designs of civilized species. "Those are their warships?" Commander Veltani whispered, her tentacles writhing with barely contained laughter. "They look like flying scrap metal." The Coalition had been monitoring Earth for decades, ever since the humans had achieved faster-than-light travel through their characteristically brute force approach, while other species had developed elegant quantum tunneling drives or dimensional fold technology. Humans had simply strapped massive fusion reactors to their ships and punched holes through space-time with raw power. Intelligence reports indicate they still use kinetic projectile weapons, Zexathara announced to his bridge crew, causing a ripple of amusement throughout the command center. Primitive chemical explosives and metal slugs fired from physical barrels. Can you imagine? The assembled officers, representing 12 different species from across the galaxy, chittered, buzzed, and gurgled their various forms of laughter. In an age where warfare was conducted with precision plasma beams, gravitational disruptors, and quantum phase weapons, the idea of hurling chunks of metal at enemy ships seemed absurdly primitive. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "the human fleet is moving into attack formation. Should we deploy defensive screens?" Zexathara waved a dismissive claw. "Against kinetic weapons? Unnecessary. Our adaptive armor plating will absorb whatever primitive projectiles they throw at us. Let them exhaust their ammunition while we charge our primary weapons." The human fleet consisted of 20 vessels, each one a testament to their species' obsession with redundancy and over-engineering. Where coalition ships featured smooth, organic curves designed for optimal energy flow, human vessels bristled with ugly protrusions, sensor arrays, weapon mounts, and what appeared to be additional armor plating welded onto already thick hulls. "Incoming transmission from the human flagship," communications reported. "Put it through, let's hear what these primitives have to say." The hologram flickered to life, revealing a weathered human face beneath a military cap. Admiral Sarah Chen, of the Terran Defense Force, looked directly into the camera with unsettling calm. "Coalition forces, this is Admiral Chen. You've entered Terran space and ignored our warnings to withdraw. This is your final opportunity to leave peacefully." Zexathara's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Admiral Chen, surely you realize you're outgunned, outmanned, and using weapons technology that's centuries behind ours. Surrender now and we'll show mercy." Chen's expression didn't change. "We've seen your mercy on the Rim worlds. Counteroffer. Leave now and we won't demonstrate why every species that's tried to conquer humanity has either fled or died." The transmission ended abruptly. Zexathara turned to his weapons officer. "Begin the demonstration. Target their flagship with a low-power plasma burst. Show them the futility of resistance." The Coalition's primary weapon, a focused beam of superheated plasma, lanced across space toward the human flagship. The beam struck the vessel's forward section, expecting to see the elegant dissolution of matter that characterized plasma weapons. Instead, the energy simply disappeared. "What just happened?" Zexathara demanded. "Sir, their hull appears to be lined with some kind of ablative material. It absorbed the plasma energy by vaporizing in layers." "Impossible. No species uses ablative armor anymore. It's too primitive, too heavy." His words were cut off by a sound that would haunt Coalition forces for generations to come. The deep, resonant boom of human kinetic weapons firing en masse. Unlike the elegant hum of energy weapons, human guns roared. 20 ships opened fire simultaneously, filling space with thousands of projectiles. But these weren't simple metal slugs. As the rounds closed distance, they began separating into multiple warheads, each one following a slightly different trajectory. "Evasive maneuvers," Zexathara shouted. But the Coalition's ships, designed for energy warfare, were ill-equipped for the three-dimensional bullet storm now surrounding them. The first impacts came as a shock. The primitive kinetic rounds punched through energy shields, as if they weren't there, because they weren't designed to stop physical objects moving at relativistic speeds. Worse, each projectile carried a payload of human innovation. Some exploded into clouds of superheated metal fragments. Others released electromagnetic pulse charges that disrupted coalition systems. And still others simply kept going, punching neat holes through hull after hull. Shields are ineffective, the defensive coordinator reported. These projectiles are too small and numerous for our targeting systems to track. Return fire, all batteries. The coalition's response was magnificent to behold. Streams of coherent energy that could melt asteroids, gravitational waves that could crush planets, and quantum disruptors that could unmake matter itself. But the human ships simply took it. Their ablative armor vaporized in spectacular displays, but underneath lay more armor, and under that even more. How much armor do these ships carry? Someone shouted over the noise of alarms. The answer came from the human fleet's second volley. This time, the projectiles were larger. Massive tungsten rods accelerated to significant fractions of light speed. When they hit like the fist of an angry god. The coalition's elegant ships, built for efficiency and grace, crumpled, like paper sculptures in a hurricane. Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the communication system again. You made a classic mistake. You assumed primitive meant inferior. Our weapons aren't elegant, but they work. Our armor isn't sophisticated, but it stops your fire. Our ships aren't beautiful, but they're built by a species that learned warfare in an environment that tried to kill us every single day for millions of years. Zexathera watched in horror as another coalition vessel broke apart under the relentless kinetic bombardment. All ships, full retreat. One more thing. Chen's voice followed them as they fled. Tell the rest of the galaxy. We didn't become apex predators on Earth by being civilized. We became civilized after we became apex predators. Remember that. As the surviving coalition ships limped away from human space, Zexathera realized the galaxy had made a terrible miscalculation. They had confused sophistication with effectiveness, elegance with lethality. The humans hadn't abandoned primitive weapons because they were stupid. They had kept them because they worked. Behind them, the human fleet maintained formation, their ugly practical ships bristling with weapons that had just rewritten the galactic understanding of warfare. In the depths of space, humanity had just announced itself not as primitives seeking acceptance, but as the newest apex predators. In a galaxy that had forgotten what real predators looked like, the galaxy would not make that mistake again.